All right, we're back. Bois Inc Podcast, episode 43. I've got Nate here with me, as usual. And, yeah, we're on 43. And this one's going to be a weird start to an episode because I could not, for the life of me, decide how to start this one. I had two good ideas. So,
Okay.
I think, okay, all right, I'm going to start with a hypothetical question before we get into like current event, anything. I was having this conversation with my brother like a couple weeks ago, and it was a great fucking hypothetical question, I think, because this one, like, there's no hard rule here. Like, we kind of play with the window of like what exactly we're talking about. But the basic premise is you're allowed to either like time travel or, you know, fucking whatever, like alter fate, whatever it requires to basically save 3 musical artists from dying at the time that they did. Who are you picking?
Oh,
like,
fuck.
Like, I wasn't sure.
I mean, Bowie's taking one spot.
Yeah, well, because so that's the interesting question: is how much does it change, right? So, like, if it's an artist that died of something like substance abuse, does that mean like you go back and like stop them from being like, you know, addicted or having that problem with it or whatever? And like, would that change their music or like?
It would change the music.
Yeah, like some of them it might, but some of it,
he
might
died
not.
of cancer.
Yeah, David Bowie's like, he died of cancer. So if you could just go back in time and cure David Bowie's cancer, like, you get a lot more like good years of music out of David Bowie. Like,
right. Because his last album, Black Star in 2016, I didn't like it, but that's only because it was really depressing because he knew he was dying when he wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
So if I took away his cancer, like maybe he would put out some good shit.
Then Black Star is like a completely different fucking album if it even gets made at all. Like, it might just be completely different. Yeah, it's
White
like,
Star.
Yeah, it's like, are there? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's man, my liver sure does feel great today, Star.
Right. Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Like,
no, the thing is, he's a complicated one because his cancer was it was liver cancer. So, you know, he fucked up his liver with alcoholism and drug use and whatever, and that could be linked to it.
Yeah, okay. Because I was
So,
thinking
like,
about
I don't know how. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about certain answers, and the first one that jumped to my head was Jimi Hendrix. I was like, yeah, you saved Jimi Hendrix, obviously. But then I was like, well, he died of like drug overdose.
Oh, that was 100% drugs.
Yeah, I was like, he died of a fucking drug overdose. Like, if you save his life, like, he's dying of a drug overdose like a month later, right? Like, because the only way you like stop him from dying of a drug overdose is make it so that he just doesn't ever get hooked on drugs, but like then the music is completely different.
Right. Exactly. It's like, because he was the start of psychedelic rock too.
So. Yeah, it's like all his shit was so it was literally just psychedelic. Yeah, it's like he was just tripping fucking balls all the time. Like,
you know, there's actually one I have to check to see if we're dead because I can't.
Okay. And then I think there's another funny aspect to this question is like, who do you choose to just like stay dead? Like,
to stay dead?
Like, are there any that
like? All right. Oh, you mean like who are you not picking?
Yeah.
Well, I think John Lennon would be who I'm not picking.
That's exactly who I thought too. I was like, I'm not a big Beatles fan, but I think even if I was a Beatles fan, I would be like, no, John Lennon had his time. Like, I'm not gonna stop John Lennon being assassinated. Like, whatever.
That would be an easy one. Like, you wouldn't have to think of the ramifications or anything because he was shot. You know?
Yeah, it's like, you just go and slap the gun out of that guy's hand, and then John Lennon lives, you know, however long he was going to anyway.
Right. So there's nothing to worry about in terms of like, will that affect his music?
Yeah, The problem is then there would just be more John Lennon music.
Right. So at the time of his death, he was a shitty artist.
Yeah. Yeah, like you're actually.
So I don't think I would say him.
I think John Lennon being assassinated is the best thing that could have happened for his career. Like, unironically, the best thing that could have happened to John Lennon in terms of like leaving a legacy was him being shot there. Like, I feel like he was only going to fall further.
I just checked on another one.
Okay, who was it?
Sid Barrett.
Sid Barrett. Oh, I know that name.
He was the original bassist from Pink Floyd.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then he went fucking insane and got locked up.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't remember.
So that would change Pink Floyd a lot, though. So that's the only thing.
Yeah. Well, I think I do
like
have
his
one that's
songwriting
like
was very different.
yeah. I think I do have one that's like a shoe.
And a
right?
lot of their music afterwards was inspired by losing him.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. That would be
so like
that would be interesting to see.
Wish You Were Here. That whole album is about losing him.
Which one is? Oh, fuck! Wish You Were Here. Okay, yeah.
Wish You Were Here.
Oh yeah, Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah, I think that'd be interesting. And then should you do it to change not just like an artist, but like if you could save someone related to an artist to change their music drastically, like do you go back in time and stop like Eric Clapton's son from dying? Like that drastically changes.
Oh God, dude!
That drastically changes.
Tears from Heaven.
Yeah,
Tears in Heaven.
Tears in Heaven never gets written. That song never happens if his son doesn't like fall out that window.
Right.
I think I had one that was like a clear shoe-in. Like you got to pick him. I'll say Bowie's a good one. Just like go back in time, somehow stop David Bowie from getting cancer. Bowie's a good one.
You could pump out some more bands.
Yeah, I think me and my brother settled. John Bonham definitely has to be on there, even though he died of like alcoholism.
John Bonham.
Yeah, John Bonham. He's the drummer for Led Zeppelin. Like Led Zeppelin broke up because he died. Like they didn't break up, but like they stopped making music because he died. Like he drank himself to death one day, and they were like, "All right, well, you know, it's disrespectful."
So Zeppelin kept going.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, it was like Zeppelin was fucking killing it, and then John Bonham dies, and they're like, "All right, well, that's enough." Be disrespectful to keep going, and it's like,
well, I know they were tired.
Yeah,
because I forget if it was Page or Plant, but I think it was Plant. Plant really didn't want to do In Through the Outdoor was like one of the last albums. He really didn't want to do that, but it was amazing though. I love it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I think like
they got Fool in the Rain. That's one of my favorite Zeppelin songs.
Yeah, I think those four guys still had a lot of good music in them.
Right, they were capable. They just didn't want to anymore.
Yeah, well, it was like they were sort of losing interest, and then John dies, and they're like, yeah, that's a good sign to like stop. They're like, yeah, it's not the same without him.
Yeah.
So I think he's like a clear like, yeah, you bring him and Bowie back. John Lennon can stay getting shot. Yeah. That's fine. That's like,
what about Mercury?
Oh yeah, Freddie Mercury. Well, yeah, well then, but that's an interesting one because I think you got to frame the question as like if you do stop him from dying, he especially I feel like needs this one is like you got to make it so that he can't die of the same thing twice. Because like, he died of AIDS.
Oh, he just doesn't get more AIDS.
Yeah, it's like if you go back and like stop him from dying of AIDS, like he would just immediately contract AIDS again.
He can't just get AIDS
like
again.
He was a gay dude in like the 80s. Like he was getting AIDS. Like
it's bound to happen.
And he wasn't just like a regular gay dude. He was like a rock star gay dude.
Fucking everybody.
He's fucking every he's fucking Mick Jagger and David Bowie and everyone that they've fucked. And it's like in the middle of the AIDS epidemic. Like, dude, Magic Johnson got AIDS. Right. Freddie Mercury is dying of AIDS. So like, if you just like go back and like give him like immunity to AIDS, then it's like, okay, I can see that. I think that would be a good one.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see, like...
I think he's worth saving, like, music-wise.
Yeah.
Because they were still putting out good music in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like... I mean, how soon after Live Aid did he die? Like, I don't remember when Live Aid happened, but it couldn't have been, like, super long.
He died in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
I think he died in the 90s.
Oh, I gotta
So he had a little while.
Okay.
Live Aid was like the end of the 80s, I think.
I don't know. I'm Googling. Let me see.
We're going to Google it.
Yeah, all right.
All right, you Google Live Aid, I'll Google when he died.
I was already doing it too. It's perfect.
Freddie Mercury. Death.
Live Aid was 85.
91.
Okay, so it was 6 years after.
The end of 91.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All right. Yeah, like I think Freddie Mercury is a good one. I think David Bowie's a good one. I think John Bonham's a good one. Because, like, it's just funny thinking about it, like, how many you would, like, save and then would just immediately get themselves killed in the same or almost the same way, or, like, would just die anyway.
Well, do you believe in the Lennon assassination theory?
I've never heard of this. What, that it was just like John Lennon was assassinated? I believe that probably happened.
Well, I mean, like, there's a difference between murder and assassination, right? Like, murder is just murder. Assassination is for political gain.
Oh, okay.
Or for a political cause of some sort.
Oh, okay.
So, some people do use the word assassination when they refer to the death of John Lennon, and some people don't.
Yeah.
Because, there's some people that will go so far as to say that, like, you know, maybe the government ordered a hit on him or some shit because he had a huge influence. You know, he was an influencer at the time.
Yeah.
And he was a communist sympathizer in the early 80s, which was like, or late 70s.
Oh, shit. Okay,
like
yeah.
no-no. Yeah.
Huh,
so somebody with that range of influence.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that before. News. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who was the guy
so
that
he
shot
died
him?
in 1980, which was like, what?
I was going to ask, like,
I forget the dude's name.
Okay.
It's just some dude. But, like, people think it could have been a hit or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, because usually a lot of those conspiracies, like, they spring up from, like, the background of the person that does the shooting. Right? Like, usually when there's, like, a high-profile assassination, they look into the assassin's, like, backstory, and they're like, okay, does this even make sense? Like, that's the weird part with like the JFK thing. They look into Lee Harvey Oswald's, like, story, and, like, he's, like, has some sort of, like, ties to Cuba, like he's like a Cuba, like, sympathizer or whatever, or, like, I don't remember, like, what it. I'm not super familiar with it because it was a while since I, like, saw the fucking documentary about it or whatever. But, like, it was like, okay, I mean, I guess he could maybe, like, be mad at JFK over that because, like, JFK was responsible for the Bay of Pigs invasion. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like JFK was on everyone's shit list, though. It was like, it's like you really have to figure out who wasn't mad at JFK at the time because, like, it seems like every time.
Well, he was also just in the South in the 60s and he was a Democrat.
Yeah, maybe, but, like, I don't think that would, like, get you murdered. Like, I don't know. I can see.
By an extremist.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, like, maybe they don't like him there. Then again, it's like, I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald was, like, a really, like, right-wing dude. Like, I think he was like, pro-communist Cuba. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was clearly fucking insane. If you even think that Lee Harvey Oswald did it, because I know there are people that think he, like, didn't have anything to do with it. He was just, like, the fucking patsy.
Who's the other dude? Jack Ruby, right?
Jack Ruby's the guy that kills Lee Harvey Oswald.
That shot him, yeah.
Yeah, and then he just, like, dies in
prison. A lot of people say that's, like, so he wouldn't talk or something.
Yeah, so. It's like, yeah, people have a bunch of different, like, that's where I think the mafia explanation comes from, is, like, the mafia had maybe some reason to be mad at JFK, and then, like, Lee Harvey Oswald potentially shoots JFK, and then Jack Ruby fucking kills Lee Harvey Oswald, and then I think Jack Ruby, like, at the time was, like, dying of something and had maybe some connection to the mob. I think that's how they tell the story, at least. It was like, oh, he was possibly connected to the mob, and he was, like, dying of cancer. So, like, him going to prison is, like, it's like you only be there for, like, a short amount of time before you die anyway, so, like, we'll set up your family or whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like the JFK thing is so completely fucked now by so many conspiracy theories. There's no way to know what actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I have no fucking clue what to make of that situation. But I don't know. I think the musical artist question is cool. Just thinking about, like, are there some that it's like, you know what? Just completely pragmatically, it sucked that you died, but like I only have 3 picks. Like 3 picks seems like a lot until you use 2 of them and you're like, oh shit. I'm running out. It's like 3 seems like too generous, and then you're like, wait a minute, hold on, those went fast. That's not good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna think about it more and see if I can come up with any other good like lineups. So the next topic I got, this one is of dire importance. This one is super important. I wasn't sure how I should start the episode with the music question or this one. So
okay.
I decide we're just gonna fucking go into them back to back. So I'm gonna date the episode. We are recording this on Friday, February 24th of 2023.
Okay.
Which I believe marks exactly 1 year of Russia being at war with Ukraine.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think today is the 1 year anniversary.
Damn.
Yeah, and you know what, man? It's really unfortunate because coinciding with this important anniversary, Russia decided to commemorate the occasion with a horrible, heinous war crime that I cannot let stand. I saw it earlier and I was like, oh my god, World War III is going to have to start over this. This is absolutely unacceptable from Russia.
What's that little rascal up to now?
Yeah, dude, Vladimir Putin has officially gone too far. Okay, I thought the whole attacking Ukraine thing was bad. I was like, damn it, Putin, if you go any further with this, I'm going to have to intervene, okay? Don't make me come over there. Listen, tough guy, I've heard about enough out of you. That's what I said to him. I called him on my cell phone, and I said that to him.
You called Putin up, yeah.
Yeah, and he decided to push too far, so now I'm going to have to go to Russia to intervene personally. Because in the Russian language version of Hogwarts Legacy, they got rid of the lesbian characters.
Oh.
There's no lesbians.
Dude.
What the fuck?
I thought people already hated that game because it wasn't progressive enough.
They absolutely do. They absolutely fucking... Well, only kind of.
Or do they just hate... They hate, like, what's her face?
They hate J.K. Rowling. See, that was what I actually wanted to segue to. I wanted to talk about Hogwarts Legacy, and I needed a good way to get us there.
Right.
So, I was thinking about it earlier, and it sort of hit me. I have never heard this phrase used before, but I think I invented a new phrase, and I would like this to be my main legacy on the internet. Like, my contribution to the cultural tapestry. I'm gonna coin the phrase right now. So in the lead up to Hogwarts Legacy coming out, for those of you that don't know, Harry Potter game, that's what I've been calling it. It's a video game where you play as a kid at the Harry Potter school. That's about it. A bunch of people decide that they're gonna make a big fucking fuss over this game because J.K. Rowling would benefit from the game doing well. Like, oh, if the game does well, then J.K. Rowling gets money, and J.K. Rowling hates trans people. So therefore, we need to make sure this game does not do good.
Not true.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I people keep saying it, and like, I don't know. I haven't looked into
I got
it.
a story out of somebody recently, and based on that story alone, I'm like, I can kind of see where the bullshit comes in.
Yeah.
On that argument.
Yeah, well, okay, so like just the quick not getting into the minutia of it thing is like, it seems like for the most part they call her trans because she identifies herself, I think, as a TERF, which basically just means it means she's a feminist, but she thinks that trans women are not included in feminism or like shouldn't be in her activism. So like, it's an acronym. It stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, and the idea is She's advocating for women's rights, but she doesn't think that the rights should
like biological.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, she's saying, like, if you're setting up like a women's shelter, like for domestic abuse or whatever, like trans women shouldn't be allowed because, in her view, they're biologically men. So why would you let biological men into this biological women's space? That's the idea. So she's constantly getting into fucking fights on Twitter over this because she's she's a bajillionaire, so she has nothing better to do with her time than fight random fucking no names on the internet. So
that's stupid shit.
Yeah, like what else does she have? Like she's already set. She's got a fucking bajillion dollars. She never
needs to fucking Harry Potter.
Yeah. She wrote Harry Potter. She was clearly bored years ago when she just started randomly making characters like gay and shit. Remember when that was like what people were mad at her?
Dumbledore's gay.
Yeah, she's just like, haha, Dumbledore gay, lol. And then it was like, okay, great. Who asked for this? Like, okay. Why? Like, that was people's beef with her. So I think she's just trying to find, like, whatever the new fucking way to get attention is because she just wants attention because she already has all the money she ever needs. So
that's true.
Yeah, so basically people did.
Bitch got a lot of money.
Yeah, basically these like really like the very rabid trans activist people were like trying to boycott the game and trying to convince other people not to support it. And they went to some pretty funny lengths to do so. So like they started tagging the game before it even came out on Steam with a bunch of shit where it was like they tagged it with like genocide simulator, which I didn't even know that was a Steam tag. I don't know how Steam tags work because I don't check Steam reviews for shit. The only time I'm using Steam is like I already know I want a game and then I just go on and buy it, or it's like, oh, Steam summer sale or winter sale or spring or fall sale or whatever's going on, so I'll check it then because they give you fat fucking discounts. Right. But like they were tagging the game as like genocide simulator, and then the game like comes out and the reviews for that game within the first like week are an absolute fucking like battlefield. My favorite thing to come out of the review section is a screenshot where there's two reviews next to each other, and one of them is transphobic developer thumbs down. And then right next to it, it says, it's another review, and it says transphobic developer thumbs up. really encompasses the duality of man.
I saw another good one today, unrelated duality of man, but
yeah.
It was duality of man, but like I guess on the same end of the spectrum, which is kind of weird.
Okay.
It was more like the alternate dimension of man, I guess. But it was one of those posts that's like, you know, if this post gets however many likes, I'll fucking do whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like, if this post gets even one like, I'll do whatever the top comment tells me to do. And the post was just a picture of the dude's dog. So, of course, it gets like thousands of likes. Top comment is kill yourself. Second comment shit. Is fuck the dog.
Fuck. Wow. So did he do it?
I don't know. Nobody's heard from him, so maybe.
Oh shit, maybe he did kill himself. Fuck, that'd be crazy. Can you imagine if like someone tells you to kill yourself on the internet and then you actually did?
Yeah, cringe.
Yeah, what the fuck? So yeah, basically a bunch of people are like throwing themselves, dying on the hill of, if you play this game, you hate trans people. And there was a bunch of people just like being so fucking angry about it and doing everything they could to try to fuck over this game coming out. And like I saw a bunch of people arguing over this, and it was like, it was funny because people that were like sympathetic to like the trans whatever were like trying to convince the fucking completely batshit insane people that like, hey, listen, this makes you look like a retard. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Especially because they're like, well, wait, listen. If no one buys the fucking game, J.K. Rowling is still a bajillionaire. The only people you're hurting are the developers of the game, who now don't make any fucking money because no one bought it. Like, J.K. Rowling, this game doing well doesn't affect her very much at all, because she already has all her fucking money. It's just the developers that you fuck over, and then their like counter argument to it was like, yeah, but they'll get future deals for other games because they can say like, look how good the game did despite all of the trans stuff. It's like, I don't think publishers are going to want to hear that.
And you're admitting that it's not having any effect at all.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, so then it does nothing. Like, first off, yes. Then,
right.
Yeah. Then
if you're saying it's still going to sell well anyway, yeah.
Yeah, well, they're like, no, but if it sells terrible, then, the developers will go to publishers, and then the publishers will be like, I don't know, that one Harry Potter game didn't do very well. And then they go, no, wait, but there was a boycott campaign, not because of us, but because of, J.K. Rowling, who had nothing to do with making the game. And then the publishers go, oh, okay, have all my money. Like, that's how that conversation would go somehow. Like, oh, I understand. Okay, we'll give you $1 billion. Yes. Go make something. Like, okay, sure. So, what a beautiful thing. And I decided, like, to read through probably the greatest source of video game journalism that anyone could think of. Polygon, my favorite games journalism site. They're always so good. They're always so insightful. Really just top tier, hard hitting journalism coming from Polygon, as everyone is well aware. And I was reading an article that they had about the game, and I was like, wait a minute, what? What the fuck? Like, this really fucking confused me. So, the weird thing is, the game is, like, actually super diverse, but they're still complaining about it. Like, the game is actually, like, it's, like I said, if you're not playing the Russian version, there's, like, lesbians. I think there is a trans character in the game. It's, like, super racially diverse, even though it's, like, 1800s Britain. Like, okay. And, like, they just decided because J.K. Rowling's intellectual property is what's being used, it's automatically, like, it's literally killing trans people playing the game. Like, if you buy the game, like, one game copy sold, one trans person killed. For every like on this video, one trans person killed. Like, that level of fucking nonsense. But it's, like, super diverse and, like, bends over backwards to not be offensive. So then Polygon...
Just like everything else does.
Yeah, Polygon hits us with an absolute banger of an idea here. So, this person I don't want to, like, check her... I mean, alright, fuck it. I'll check her name. But this is from the article on Polygon. Hogwarts Legacy wants to make everyone happy, but Harry Potter gets in the way. By Gita Jackson. And this is from February 17th. So she's, like, writing about, like, oh, it's weird because the game's trying to balance in between being tied to J.K. Rowling because it has to be, but also not, like, pissing people off. So basically she's saying she read the books growing up because, like, she was a kid, like, during the height of that shit. Like, she turned, like, 11 or whatever as the first book came out. So she was in, like, the middle of that, like, ground zero for the book coming out. And she says, quote, I longed for more Indian representation than just Parvati and Padma Patil. In Hogwarts Legacy, multiple professors are Indian, as are my classmates. There's a potion vendor in one of the small hamlets that has the same name as my mother. So, like, okay, sick. She got what she wanted, right? Like, she said, I was reading the books and I thought it was a little lacking in Indian representation. But then in the game, there's like a bunch of Indian people. There's like in like everything. It's not like there's just one character. It's like there's one that runs a store. There's like teachers and a bunch of the kids. And then the next sentence completely fucking spirals. Rather than providing comfort, it makes me skeptical. While Rowling's racial representation has never been good, tossing a half dozen Indians into the Scottish countryside willy-nilly isn't exactly better. Where did they come from? India, which was still under British rule in the 1800s? And where did they all go by the time Harry got there? So exactly, she goes, I wish Harry Potter. She goes,
okay.
She goes, I wish Harry Potter had more Indians. And then this game goes, we're gonna put a bunch of Indians in there. And she went, ew, not like that. What are they, from India? Fuck that. Like, what? Guys, we need more diversity in everything. Okay, here's your diversity. I don't like it. Undo it. It sucks. And this
I was
is like
reading some crazy shit.
Yeah.
On a fucking, what's that site, like CBR?
Oh,
CBR?
I hate CBR.
Yeah, they suck. It was something about like Star Wars and cultural appropriation because, like the Force is based on Buddhism or some shit.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure, but he openly admitted that from the second the first movie came out.
Yeah.
Like the whole story with Star Wars is everybody thought it was going to flop, and then it came out, and of course it fucking blew up.
Yeah.
And, in the earliest interviews and shit, when they were like, this is a totally new idea, like, where do you get the inspiration for all this? He's like, fucking Buddhism.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought the stories were cool. I don't really see the connection there to, like, harm, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's like, why not? Who cares? Like, okay, he was inspired by
it's just like, I don't get, like, all these articles. Like this Hogwarts Legacy one, just, like, all these articles, they just focus on the dumbest fucking shit.
Yeah, they always take, like, things that are completely superficial and then, like, blow them up like they're the biggest deal.
Right.
So then, don't worry, she continues on. See, I thought that was, like, really stupid because I was reading it, and it doesn't make sense. Like, we need more representation. Okay, here's the representation. Not like this. Okay? Yeah. So, all right, I lost my place. Fuck. Okay. All right, so yeah, she asks, India was still being, like, colonized by the British in the 1800s. Why were there a bunch of them in Britain in the 1800s, but then when Harry Potter gets there, there's, like, none? And then she goes, how Hogwarts Legacy fits into the overall fiction of Harry Potter becomes thornier the more you think about these contradictions. If the witch that I met south of campus is, along with her wife, openly a lesbian, then why didn't Dumbledore ever come out of the closet? If it's possible for non-British witches and wizards to teach at Hogwarts, why didn't they in the 90s when Harry was there? Many characters remark on how unusual it is that you're a new student starting as a fifth year, which is not something the Potter books ever indicated could happen. But none of the other characters talk about how strange it is that Hogwarts has a transfer student from the Ugandan school Uagadu. In the one book where witches and wizards from other schools showed up from France and Bulgaria, their presence was treated as a rare oddity. So Hogwarts Legacy is not good because it gives me the diversity I wanted and it doesn't alienate the racial minorities enough. That's what I don't like about the game, is that it treats all of the foreigners like not foreigners.
Right.
I was like, man, this one Ugandan kid shows up and he just, like, assimilates with the culture he's in? Pfft, what? This sucks. Like, what the fuck were they supposed to do? Like, this is... The people that write articles like this will never be happy. Anytime,
God, no.
anytime they're arguing for some
They don't
shit like
deserve
this,
to be.
yes, because they
Which
just
is dark
hate.
as fuck, but
Yes,
true.
yes, because they do it to themselves. They make up things to complain about, and then when they get it, they go,
Exactly.
"This sucks. It's bad. Why did you do it? You should have done it different." It's like, motherfucker, they did it the way that you
Because
keep
if they like it,
nagging
they can't
them
write
to.
any more articles.
Yes, because they don't actually want any of the changes to happen, because then they have to make up new shit to be mad about.
Right.
It's like the thing that people say about, I think it's like police, like law enforcement organizations, when they make task forces to try to deal with things, how they like a lot of the time they don't actually get results because then they would be out of a job. It's like, oh, we created a task force to get rid of gang-related violence or whatever. And it seems like they're always fighting against gangs, and it's like, you can't get rid of them. And the answer to they can't get rid of them is, well, if they got rid of them, then there would be no need for an anti-gang violence task force.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's where the games journalists of the world fit into, is they complain about things that don't matter because they don't want anything to change, so that way games can just like exist how they exist now. Change nothing.
Right.
You know what? We should have stopped with less diversity. Less diversity was better, and we should like bully the foreign exchange student for being weird and foreign. Thank you, Polygon. What an enlightening article. As usual. And I don't know what it is, but something about just watching like the public melting down over this game has been hilarious. So this is what I was getting at when I said I invented a new term. This was not a boycott. This was a full-blown soycott.
Oh.
Boycotting is when you do it
like
successfully and or for a good reason. A soycott is when it's just you being fucking ass mad about something and trying to make it fail for no reason. Yeah. There was one meme that was going around that was really funny. So there's like some forum site called Reset Era. And on the website, they say, we're not going to allow any discussion of the game because, you know, we don't want it on the website. Like, just flat out blanket ban on the game, like, for the whole forum. Which was funny because the screenshot I saw that was saying they were banning it, there was a massive full-page ad for the game. So they were advertising the game. It was one of those ones where it's an article and the background of the whole page is the cover of the game. And it was like, we will not be tolerating any discussion of Hogwarts Legacy. Buy Hogwarts Legacy. Here's a link. And then it came out that there were a bunch of the guys that run that website or like moderate it or something. It came out that if like they have at least somewhat public Steam profiles, they were all fucking playing the game. So they didn't even boycott it. They're like, no, don't put it on the forum website. It's too inflammatory. We don't want it. We're all gonna play it though, right? Like we don't want this transphobic game on our website. And then they all buy it. That is like peak soycott.
You want to hear about another soycott? Real life soycott?
Sure.
Real life is in like I'm seeing it every day. Oh
yeah, I have another one. But yeah, I want to hear yours.
So Drexel, I will dox myself because it's a big school. So
I'm sure we've talked about it before.
Yeah, we definitely have. Drexel. There's like this thing going on in University City where a lot of the schools are buying up. Now, again, it's something where like nobody will give me a straight answer because I know that like they don't really understand what's going on. But from what I understand, the schools are buying up townhomes in West Philly, and it's displacing families living in West Philly. That's the issue at hand.
Okay.
Now, I heard this being talked about, and every time I heard it mentioned, it was Penn. Penn was the school that was buying the townhomes. And then I heard that Temple was looking into buying some of them. But Penn was like the main one that's buying up these townhomes.
Okay.
And I go out to get to class on Monday. I think it started this week. And in the walkway, like just the main walkway on campus, there's tons of people with like posters and megaphones and shit. And they're yelling, and they got these little chants about, they're calling out the president of the school by name and saying he's like greedy and this and that. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, like, yeah, we all know he's an asshole, but like, why specifically? So, if John Fry, the current president of Drexel, ever hears this, fuck yourself and suck my dick.
That is the official The Bois Inc opinion on John Fry. Yes, on you, John Fry. That's the Bois Inc endorsed opinion. Fuck that guy. He's a shitbag. We all know that. But like, what is he doing wrong this time though? So, they're trying to hand me flyers and shit. I just walk by, I got my headphones on, ignoring them. They're shoving it in my face every single day. I just walk by. And the posters are about buying townhomes. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Drexel's not, I don't think they're buying townhomes. Okay. I've never heard anybody mention Drexel when they talk about that shit. Okay.
So, I was right.
Oh.
Because after all this shit on, they moved inside the main building where a lot of the classes are, and they're all like just on the floor in like the main lobby area, just like in a giant circle, holding hands and chanting and whatever the fuck.
They're warding off the evil spirit of John Fry gentrifying West Philly.
Well, it's like, do you think he's in here? Like, this is the building. Why the fuck would he be in here? He's at home. Like, why the fuck would he be here? So
he doesn't live on campus.
They're going there like every day, and like they're yelling like, "Come out, John Fry!" Like he's in the building. Like, why the fuck would he be there? Idiots. So
they're summoning him.
We're in class. Yeah, it's like a fucking seance. We're in class, and every time I'm in class now, you can't fucking focus. Because you can just hear these assholes. It's like, all right, we're sitting here. We're paying for this class. We're in this class. And the guy you're trying to talk to isn't even here. And then it gets worse because I was right. On like Wednesday. So Wednesday night, right? I'm walking home and I'm passing the same spot. They're out there all day and night. And there's like a ton of cop cars. And I'm like, oh shit, finally. And I go up to this person I recognized that was involved in the protest that I knew were from huge surprise, this political science class I had to take.
Oh, yeah.
And,
wow, who would have guessed?
I was like, what's going on? Why are the cops here? And she's like, oh, there might be a few arrests. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, do you want to join us? And I was like, no. And I walked home.
Do you want to join us?
She's like, do you want to join us? We're standing here filming the police to make sure they don't do anything. I'm like, no, I'm not going to stand here and film the police. Go fuck yourself. That's the new thing. That's what they do is whenever there's like a real arrest happening in the city, there'll be like a crowd of idiots standing there filming it.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. It's
like a crowd of white girls filming it. Like, what the fuck are you doing? So anyway, next morning, there's an email. He finally addressed it in an email, one of his shitty little copy-paste emails he sends out. And the email basically just said, like, I'm sorry you guys are pissed about
the email said,
all the schools buying up the townhomes.
All of you can suck my nuts.
Suck my sweet and salty nuts. he was like, yeah,
that would be the most pimp move he could ever do.
He's like, but Drexel isn't doing that. He's like, we're not one of the schools buying this. He's like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
He basically did say that. He basically did say,
right.
You guys can shut the fuck up now, because I'm not even doing the thing that you're protesting. Like, you won, I guess.
Well, he was never doing it to begin with.
Yeah, I'll stop doing the thing that I wasn't doing already. You know what, guys? Because of the massive backlash, I'm going to stop being such a bad person. What did you do that was making you a bad person? Well, nothing, but I'll stop anyway. I'll stop.
I mean, he does suck. He's a legitimately terrible person.
Yeah.
Just not for the bullshit reasons they keep coming up with. He's just an ass.
Okay.
But any president of a college, I'm sure they're all assholes. Like, come on. But my point is that they're still going.
Yeah. Yeah, they're protesting in all the ways that don't matter.
Probably the worst it's been. They're still like protesting and calling him out by name for something he just said he's not doing. Like, and that's not like something that's he can hide either.
See that
like people are gonna know if Drexel owns townhomes.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're gonna use it for student housing. So if new student housing magically pops up in West Philly, then you know he's doing it.
Yeah, and you can probably find his name attached to the properties if he's buying them. Yeah,
right. Exactly.
Yeah, like you can see who owns them. The dude, that's so funny. Like that should be a sign that he's actually not doing that bad a job. If all of the students are protesting something that he's not even doing, his college students, dude, no one complains about stupid shit more than college students.
Oh, absolutely.
The most complainy demographic
it's a fucking
on the fucking planet. And the best they could muster against him is stop buying the houses that you're not buying.
Yep.
You stop buying those houses. I'm not. You better knock that off or I'm going to come over there, John.
Don't make me come over there.
Yeah, don't make me intervene.
John, I swear to God.
We're going to throw toilet paper at the house you bought. And he's like, I didn't buy a house. Go ahead. You know what? Just do it. Fuck it. You know what? Do it. Go ahead. And like, we really got him. And they just like TP'd some random bystander's house. They're like, we made the world a better place today, comrade.
They TP'd the home of like one of the displaced families.
it's
from the other school.
Yeah. It's this woman just got like
it's like it is happening. They're not worried about that.
It's just not Drexel. It's Penn and Temple doing it.
Yeah.
Like
Penn just bought a bunch of houses in West Philly.
This woman got forcibly evicted from her home because it was bought by Penn State, and now keep in mind she's a single mother of 6. Thank God she found somewhere that she could barely afford. She's working 3 jobs just to make rent. And then these fucking asshole college students decided to fucking deface her house.
Gets TP'd by a fat girl with blue hair.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I bet John Fry really felt that. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows. He like woke up in the middle of the night. They did it at like 2 a.m. He wakes up in a cold sweat. He's like, oh my God. Oh, wait, I don't care. And then he went back to sleep. He was like, oh, wait.
It's like in Star Wars when they fall around and Obi-Wan's like, oh, shit. He feels it from like light years away.
He just knows. He felt the disturbance.
This disturbance in the Force.
Yeah, fuck. That's really funny. So the other thing that I thought went really funny with the Harry Potter game thing is that's not the only game that people were trying to have boycotted. It's the only one that had to do with the trans thing. And this one was too personal because this is one that I really wanted to play. because I'd been hyped for it for a couple months. It's called Atomic Heart, and it just came out.
Atomic Heart? I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. A trailer dropped a while ago, and I saw it, and I was like, I'm keeping my eye on this. And it just came out, and the reviews are all over the place. Not in like a funny way, in a no one knows what the fuck to make of this game kind of way. It's going for like a really weird thing. So the context is back in 2008, BioShock releases. And BioShock comes out and people fucking love it. And for good reason, because BioShock slaps. And the thing is, BioShock is really interesting because the writing is like top fucking tier. It's really well done. It's not perfect, but it's really good. And it's one of those good examples of doing politics in like an artistic medium, but not being a retard about it and having it be terrible.
That's rare.
Yeah, so the whole like premise of the game is basically it's refuting like Ayn Rand, basically. So it's basically a critique of objectivism as like a political system.
Okay.
So the whole premise is, there's some guy named Andrew Ryan who's definitely not an allegory for Ayn Rand. It's just that his name is Andrew Ryan and not Ayn Rand, and he's a dude. And has absolutely nothing to do with Ayn Rand, even though they both think the exact same things and have names that are basically the same. Definitely not the same person, though. He's some crazy rich guy, and he decides, I'm an objectivist, which is basically fucking mega libertarian capitalism. Where it's like, fuck it, just do whatever you want. Everyone be as selfish as you want, because fuck it, capitalism will win. That's the way to do it.
Right.
He builds a city at the bottom of the ocean where no government can like touch him, so everyone can just move there and just hash it all out, just fight in like the ultra capitalist no government utopia. And the whole thing goes to shit because obviously. Like all of the scientists go there and they start cooking up really wacky shit because there's no like government oversight and no ethics, so all of the craziest scientists come up with the craziest ideas and are just allowed to experiment however the fuck they want. So they create like self-defense weapons where you can shoot lightning from your fucking hands. But one of the side effects is you go insane if you use it. So of course everyone's insane and now they have lightning hands, so the city falls apart. And that game goes on to inspire a bunch of other shit. One of those things being Atomic Heart. And Atomic Heart basically marketed itself as the Soviet version of BioShock. If BioShock is a critique against Randian objectivism, then this is evidently probably a refutation of like some flavor of communism. Like Soviet-style communism. I'm not sure if you would say it's against Leninism or Stalinism or whatever, or Trotskyism or whatever, but like it's some refutation of communism, most likely. I haven't played the game yet because I've just been doing other stuff, but I just wanted to see like what the fallout of this game coming out would be. So this seems fine so far. Nothing like to cancel this game over. The problem is Russian devs. So the game is set in like alternate future Soviet Union where like, what if the Soviet Union had really advanced tech, so they got like way ahead of the US and then we're winning the Cold War. But, you know, they build like robots and shit and then the robots take over. And based on just this, like based on that like loose premise and a trailer, some guy decides to make a video called Please Don't Buy Atomic Heart. And this video fucking sucks. I watched it and holy shit, it doesn't make any sense. He brings up a bunch of examples of people at the company doing nothing wrong. So his attempt to like take down this game is he goes, but you know, with the way that Russia and Ukraine are right now, you know, you'd be supporting the Russian developers. And it's like, okay, are the are the devs like contributing to Russia killing Ukraine? It's like, well, not really. They just run a business in Russia. Oh, well, okay, but
then that's just racist.
Yeah, is the company like shady? And they go, well, not really, but maybe like there was an employee at the company that at one time worked for a different company, and that company maybe did something shady one time. Okay, that's not shit. That doesn't mean anything. There was no substantiation for like why that's even a bad thing. They're like, yeah, this guy worked at a company one time in Russia, and then that one Russian company at one time could have done something bad. Maybe. Was he working at the company when it happened? Or was this like way after he left? Like, did he leave the company and then like 3 years later they did something bad? Did they even do anything bad? Like, none of this makes any fucking sense. And then the one point I will give him could be sort of good is he goes, well, in the terms of service, it says it like collects your data and it could be done in like a shady way, maybe. Like it implies that like they might send it to the Russian government, but it doesn't say that. And then right after people realized that, they took that down and were like, oh, that was outdated. That's not actually the terms of service.
Right.
And that was it. That was all he had was the Russian government gets your information, which it might not, because they said it doesn't. So it's about as much as you trust them. And even more curious, there's no like microtransactions in the game. So what information are they getting from you? Like, they're not getting your credit card, most likely. So they might get your physical location if they check whatever your device's like IP is. It could be that, but I don't know. And that's about it. That's the only thing he can say. Oh, but my favorite like critique was, because the game takes place in the super futuristic Soviet Union, of course, the game is littered with Soviet propaganda, obviously. There's Soviet propaganda decorating the whole game because it takes place in the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union loves their propaganda. And his argument was, that means that the game is Soviet propaganda. Even though the point is like it's Soviet propaganda in the Soviet Union that's been completely destroyed by robots that they built. It's ironic.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, what? So wait, if you're playing Wolfenstein, which is a game about killing Nazis, but the game has a bunch of swastikas because you're killing Nazis, so like you're in a giant castle that has Nazis in it and they put swastikas everywhere, does that mean the game is pro-Nazism? Like, it's pro-fascism, it's anti-Semitic. Like, how? The objective is kill Nazis. That seems pretty not in favor of Nazis. Just saying you should now kill them for fun. So I forgot where I was because we had to pause, but something about Atomic Heart, that video being stupid. I haven't played it yet.
You got to the point you're talking about, like you gave the analogy of the game where you kill the Nazis and there's swastikas.
Yeah. Wolfenstein is not pro-Nazi because you kill Nazis in it and it has Nazis to be bad guys. If the whole point of the setting is the Soviet Union collapsed, and even if it had superior technology, it was still going to fucking collapse because the thing sucks. I fail to see how that's Soviet propaganda.
Right.
That's literally the opposite. You wouldn't say that BioShock is capitalist propaganda. Oh no, it's actually a great reason. It's showing you why laissez-faire objectivist capitalism is the best shit ever because everyone is fucking dying all the time and it sucks in the setting. The setting is absolutely fucking hellish. So I thought that was fucking stupid. And the interesting thing about the game is no one knows how to feel about it. Some people are like, this shit is amazing, and other people are like, it's bad. Which is weird because usually game reviews, like, they're not all the same, but they have a clear consensus a lot of the time. Where everyone is saying mostly the same thing about most games at this point, which is kind of annoying. So it was at least interesting to see a new game that no one can categorize.
That's cool.
Yeah. I got another interesting thing that happened to me personally. This was certainly something. So I'm not sure if I should give a little like lead in here or if I should just start the story.
Do I know the story?
I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe do a bit of a lead-in.
Okay, all right, here's the lead-in. Did you know that there, like, magic potions exist?
Like LSD?
No. No, it's not LSD. I mean legitimately magic potions.
No, I didn't.
All right, check this out. So, around 2 weeks ago, it was Friday, and I was at the gym with my brother, and around halfway through us lifting weights, I start feeling really fucking bad. Like, I start feeling a little too warm. Even though I'm at the gym, I was like uncomfortably warm, and it wasn't just because I was working out.
Right.
And I started feeling really tired, even though it was only like 6 p.m. I was like, this is weird. I feel like I'm getting sick. So I stopped working out because I was like trying to not pass out and die on the gym, like, free weights.
Right.
So we go home. I'm like, this sucks. I'll see if I can sleep it off. My brother decides to go hang out with some of his friends, like after he drops me off at the house. And they go to a place in like our area called Acai Mart. And the Acai Mart is basically the Asian grocery store. Unbeknownst to me, he just buys some stuff that he finds like just funny or like just cool to look at or whatever. Like, oh, okay, I don't know what any of the text on this says, but you know, it's kind of a surprise mechanic. You just kind of open it up and see what you get.
Right.
So I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning and I am sick as fuck. I'm just like, I feel like total shit that Saturday. I wake up and I'm like, oh, fuck. I feel like I got hit by a truck. I go through Saturday just like suffering through it. And my brother is talking to me and he calls me up and he goes, yo, I left an elixir outside of your bedroom door.
Oh.
I was like, you left an elixir? What the fuck does that mean? And he goes, well, I was at the Asian store and there were these weird drinks. And we were looking at them and I drank like a bunch of them. And then I checked like the label and this thing is fucking full of vitamin C. This thing has got a stupid amount of vitamin C in it. And like vitamin C is good for when you're sick.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, I'll drink it. He's like, all right, yeah, cool. So he hangs up the phone. I decide to drink the fucking potion. And the potion is this tiny little bottle. I still have the empty bottle. It's this tiny bottle with a label on it with a bunch of Korean writing. There's like no English on it. But for some reason, there's a Great Britain flag. Like the whole, like, every fucking British country flag on there. And there's a guy that looks like a much younger Korean Bill Nye. It's like, there's a Korean dude on the packaging with like a bowl cut and glasses and a bow tie.
Okay.
So I drink it and it tastes kind of like I think the way my brother described it made sense. It's kind of like, you know those shitty little like Smarties you get in those like plastic sleeves?
Yeah.
It tastes like that, but like if you drank it. But like kind of good. It kind of tasted like that mixed with like Red Bull.
Okay.
So I drink it and I'm like, okay, whatever. About the same. I go to sleep and wake up the next morning and I'm like way better. Like I wake up and I'm like, holy shit, I feel like if yesterday I was at like 15% of where I should have been, like I was 15 out of 100, today I'm like 85. What happened? Like I was like suffering yesterday, like feeling like death, and then I wake up today and I'm like good. I was like, huh, that's weird. How much fucking vitamin C is in this thing? And I believe it's got like 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C in it.
Jesus.
So I was like, God damn, he basically just gave me a fucking health potion and it cured me. What the fuck? I was sick, and then he was like, here, drink a health potion. And I was just like better the next morning. I was like, oh, I'm functional again. I'm not 100%, but I can function. That's good. I can leave my room. And then I got to watch the Eagles get fucking murdered in the Super Bowl.
That was for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty fucking lame Super Bowl ending. That's pretty shitty. I don't know. I don't really like the Chiefs, and I'm an Eagles fan, so that was tough to watch. But, you know, I was glad I was feeling better. That was cool. I guess I couldn't get 2 wins in the same day.
Yeah.
And, yeah, my brother was telling me about the funny shenanigans he got up to with it, because that Saturday night, him and his friend were just, like, fucking around, and they bought it in, like, an 8-pack. And he drank, like, 4 of them.
Jesus.
So he got, like, 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C. So he was saying, like, the next day...
Never gets scurvy.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. The next day, he's like, wait, what the fuck? Why do I, like, feel shitty? What was in that? And it was like, oh, like several weeks worth of vitamin C you just drank. You're supposed to get, like, a couple 100 milligrams a day, and you drank 4,000 in one night.
Right.
So he starts, like, panicking because he thinks he's gonna, like, fucking die of vitamin C poisoning. Turns out that's
vitamin
like
C overdose.
Yeah, turns out that's one of the only ones you can't die of having too much of.
One of the only vitamins?
Yeah, vitamin A, B, and D, I think you can die if you have too much. Vitamin C, it just, like, makes you shit.
Huh.
So he was, like, fine. Like, I think he said he had an upset stomach for, like, the next day or two, but, like, he didn't die. He didn't need to go to the fucking hospital.
Right.
So, yeah. Just, dude, if you're sick, drink weird Korean Bill Nye vitamin C potion. It will get you fucking right. That's the way. Although it might be cursed. Because I don't know for sure, but basically right after I drank it and felt a lot better, that was Super Bowl Sunday that I felt better. And then I believe that Tuesday was Valentine's Day. And then on that Tuesday, I found out my dad has COVID. So I think maybe I drank it and it, like, fixed me up, but then gave him COVID.
Okay.
Like, maybe it just transfers the illness to someone else. Because even crazier than that, I figured, like, oh, if I just felt deathly ill, like, 4 days ago, and he has COVID now, I probably have COVID. I took a test and it came back negative. I was like, okay, I guess it was just something else then. So, funny enough, now 2 people, both of my parents that have gotten COVID, and I live in the same house as them, haven't gotten it. I've never had COVID. I'm starting to think that shit might just be made up.
I've had COVID. Actually, no. So I never tested positive.
Okay.
I don't know if that, but like there was this one time I got really sick after being with somebody who had it, so I think I had tested negative.
Okay.
If you buy into the whole false negative thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, because I sort of figured mine would maybe be a false negative, but then like I just felt better and better every day after. So I was like, oh, I guess I probably don't have it then. So yeah, that's my piece on magic potions. I thought that would be interesting. Like, I gotta get the name of this brand because I don't know if there's any actual like branding on it. That was the weird part because I only know it's Korean because I sort of know what some language characters look like. Like I took a Mandarin class in middle school and I can't speak any fucking Chinese, but the symbols on the bottle don't look Chinese to me. And they don't look Japanese either, so I just assumed Korean. And then I was telling my girlfriend about it, and she was like, let me see the bottle. And I was like, okay, so I sent her a picture of it, and she was like, yeah, that's Korean. So then she, like, translated it, and she's like, yeah, it just says vitamin C on it. No shit, it has vitamin C in it. I was like, oh, okay, sick. Like, my brother just bought it because it was like, haha, funny bottle. We don't know what's in it.
Right.
Like, oh, it's weird. It's like a little bottle of juice, and it tastes like Smarties and Red Bull. It's like, okay, sweet, let's drink 4 of them. So I guess the moral of the story is you should drink strange liquid.
Yeah.
If you find strange Korean liquid, drink it. It will most likely improve your health. Don't tell anyone I told you that, though. I don't want to be liable for that. This is not a show about medical advice.
It's news to me.
Yeah, but I mean, personally, in a non-legally binding kind of way, I can't be sued for this sort of way because I'm not actually telling you to do it. It worked for me. All right, I got one more thing I want to end on, and it's gonna be the weirdest white pill ever.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've seen it, but there was a story that came out, I think about a week ago now, involving a guy on YouTube called Friendly Jordy.
No, I can't say no about that one.
Okay, so Friendly Jordy is an Australian guy, and he has been wrapped up in this weird arc of basically getting into an internet beef with one of his local politicians in Australia. It's basically like if I was making YouTube videos trying to expose my like local governor. Like I'm beefing with like my state representative. Because he like makes a video trying to like expose him or whatever. Of like, oh, here's some like weird shady business that he's into or something. I don't remember how it starts, but like he basically makes some sort of expose on this guy. And then it devolves into basically just a back and forth internet slap fight between the two of them. And there's like lawsuits and all this shit. Well, Friendly Jordy decides to upload a video talking about a recent development, not necessarily relating to this politician thing, but he chose to frame it through the politician story lens. Someone decided to throw a fucking firebomb at his house.
Okay.
So, lucky for him, he wasn't in his house at the time.
Right.
But he comes back to his house and finds out that someone threw a fucking firebomb at it, potentially trying to kill him or just like scare the shit out of him. And he starts talking about who could have possibly done it. Who would want to target this guy? And apparently every single person in Australia probably wants this guy dead for some reason or another.
Jesus.
Because he just keeps making enemies in the course of trying to internet fight his local congressman, basically, like, because he starts like constantly fucking with the guy in the government, and then the guy in the government, like him and all of his other government buddies, don't like him.
Right.
And then he starts suing him, and then, he starts getting sued back, and then all this shit. And then the police show up to one of Friendly Jordy's employees' houses to fucking arrest him for some reason. Like, they had, like, an anti-terrorism squad following him and his employees around for some reason. So the cops don't really like him. He did a video where he was, like, exposing this politician for, like, possible criminal ties. And he was talking about, like, gang members in Australia openly. So, safe to say, the organized crime element of Australia doesn't really like him either.
Yeah.
So, in keeping with all that, he also, like, I think trolled, or just for some reason the local media don't like him. So the news media doesn't like him, the government doesn't like him, the cops don't like him, and the town criminals don't like him. So really, a more accurate question would be, who does not have motive to throw a firebomb at him?
True.
Just assume everyone does until they have some reason why they don't want to.
Right.
And he made a video about it, and it's super interesting because he starts with him like in his firebombed house. He's like, yeah, so like this is fucking crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you how we got here. So basically, back before COVID, this government guy did like some shady business deal, and I decided to make a video about it. I was like, how are we gonna end up here? Like, the guy is angry because the guy in the government is angry because Friendly Jordy made a video about him and made a joke about the government guy being Italian. He made like a 1 second long joke about him being Italian because he's from Italy. And that's like the source of the whole fucking problem that like they've both been suing each other for years now, was he made like a joke about him being Italian. And it was funny because I was watching this video, and multiple times throughout it, he has to specifically address some weird shit because he goes, well, yeah, so basically my local government representative is suing me for talking about him negatively on the internet. And I was like, what? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Why? How is that even allowed? Like, your government official is suing you just for talking about him? What? That's unheard of. That's insane. And then I was like, oh, wait. I'm an American. Of course that doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So that's really my main takeaway from his video. I was like, wait a minute. No matter how bad things seem in America, we're still doing better than everyone else. You can't even troll your local congressman in Australia. Meanwhile, in the US, the main fucking hilarious meme right now that's being absolutely bludgeoned to death by the internet is you take AI voice modifiers of fucking old US presidents and make them play Minecraft together. You have fucking Barack Obama and Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton and George Bush all playing on a Minecraft server together, and they try to figure out who's cheating. That is not a suable offense. None of them can sue you for that. That is fair game. They're public figures. Meanwhile, this guy's like, hey, this government guy is kind of weird and he's Italian, am I right? And he's like, this is going to involve a terrorism task force following you around and I'm going to sue you for several years. And he's like, this is just Australia, I guess. it's what?
I never heard about the fucking Minecraft ones. I've seen a bunch of other ones.
Yeah,
I've seen like the Among Us ones and shit.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah, I've seen tons of them, and it's like, oh, they're just playing Minecraft or whatever, and and Elon Musk is there, and Joe Rogan is there, and Ben Shapiro is there, and the fucking Joker is there for some reason. Yeah, like, okay, fucking Jordan Peterson is like, should I mine these diamonds? And Elon Musk is like, no, we shouldn't, because we want to wait until we have a Fortune 2 or Fortune 3 pickaxe. And then Jordan Peterson is like, listen up, retard. We can't even mine obsidian yet. Of course I should mine these. And he's like, no, wait, but we can find it by the ruined portal. Meanwhile, in Australia, you're like, hey, government guy, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm going to fucking firebomb your house, allegedly, potentially, maybe. I might be somewhat involved. I'm not sure. It's not clear. We don't know. There's no evidence to suggest he actually did it or he had someone do it. It's just that he has motive.
Right.
But you get sued for several years and someone throws a firebomb at your house. And I think that was my main takeaway from the video was all of these countries that like pretend that they're better than the US because the US is somehow like backward or like barbaric in some way. And yet, here they are making fools of themselves. Dude, I remember watching a video from some Australian guy in like the middle of COVID. And it was like, it had nothing to do with COVID or being Australian. It was just like a review of something or whatever. And he just randomly went on some tirade about how closed down Australia was and how like irresponsible it was that the US wasn't closed down enough.
Fuck off.
Like, yeah, exactly. I was like, man, what the fuck? He's like, oh, but you know, the US has way more COVID deaths than Australia does. Yeah, and guess what? We're allowed to troll our government. Fuck you.
Yeah.
We're allowed to say whatever the fuck we want about the government. I'm allowed to take an AI and have it replicate Joe Biden's voice and have him say he loves Thug Shaker and that he's officially gay. That's like my favorite video now is someone synthesized Joe Biden at
fuck is Thug Shaker.
I can't. I'll tell you later. But there's some video where Joe Biden is at a podium and he's like, man, I saw the ass on that intern and I don't even care that he's a man. I'm officially gay. Like, you're allowed to make that and the government has to just be like, all right, you're allowed to do that. Fucking, what a beautiful country, man. That's the white pill.
Shaker a person?
No.
What's a song?
You can call it that.
A rump shaker.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Such a stupid thing to fucking end on.
Fucking love that shaker. I'm gonna watch the video.
Yeah, I gotta find the video. I think I sent it to you, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. All right. All right, I'm going to end the episode because that's all I had. Basically, the moral of the story is the U.S. fucks every other country because they think, oh, our COVID lockdown was way better. We're just a way better country than America. Fucking Australia supremacy, am I right? Motherfucker, talk shit to your own government. See who gets hit. Thanks, everyone, for watching. This has been episode 43. Fucking, I'll see you next week.